Tonight we begin with this. And as the death of the late former Lugari MP continues to raise questions, it has been established that Cyrus Jirongo died from severe internal injuries consistent with the road crash. A post-mortem conducted by a team of pathologists led by family pathologist Joseph Ndungu at the Lee Funeral Home found that he sustained multiple fractures and critical chest injuries. The findings indicated extensive trauma to the rib cage and major blood vessels around the heart, leading to massive internal bleeding. This comes a day after the DCI launched a comprehensive probe into the death, assembling a multi-agency team of homicide detectives and forensic experts to establish the exact circumstances surrounding his death.
The body of the late Jirongo, and it had multiple injuries. There were multiple fractures. There was a fracture involving the right hand, 2 fractures involving the right hand, and then there were fractures of both lower limbs. The lower limbs are the legs. There was a crash injury to the chest with multiple ribs fracture. There was perforation of the heart with the rupture of most of the major vessels that connect the heart. There were also bleeding into the chest cavity, and also crash injuries going to the abdomen with the crash of the liver, with also bleeding into the abdominal cavity. There was also transection of the spinal cord at the thoracic level, and as a result of our examination, we formed an opinion that the late Cyrus Jirongo died as a result of a crash injury to the chest, the abdomen, and also spinal injuries due to blunt force trauma.
Postmortem is going very well. We have the report, and as I said, the 3 pathologists have concurred on the report. So that is just stage 1. It does not answer the many other questions that we've been raising.
The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has warned motorists and security officers against engaging in corruption on Kenyan roads, especially during the festive season when travel has increased across the country. Speaking in Boni, Makueni County during the burial of Dixon Kayesi, the brother of the late former Rift Valley Regional Commissioner Wilfred Ndolo, EACC Western Kenya Regional Director Eric Ngumbi said the commission will deploy officers along major highways to curb bribery and traffic law violations that endanger the lives of travelers. Ngumbi's comment came against the backdrop of an audit into the National Police Service, which revealed deep-rooted corruption within the traffic unit, including allegations that public service vehicles are subjected to daily extortion, with illegal proceeds allegedly channeled up to the chain of command.
Tuwachunge wale abiria ambao tunabeba. Hakuna haja wewe unafanya makosa, unabeba gari ambayo inabeba watu kupita kiasi, kisha unatoa hongo ili uweze kukwepa sheria na hatimaye unaua watu. Kwa hivyo mtindo huo ambapo madereva wengi are driving people to death unatakiwa ukomeshwe. Na hili jambo hili lifanyike, lazima kila mshikadau atekeleze wajibu wake. Wakati asasi hizi zinatekeleza majukumu haya, inatakiwa ikumbukwe kwamba pia wananchi ni baadhi ya wale washikadau ambao wana jukumu kubwa ya kuzipunguza zile ajali ambazo zinatokea katika barabara zetu na kusababisha vifo vya watu wengi, wakiwemo watu wengi wa familia moja.
Moving on, the Kitui County government, in partnership with road safety stakeholders, has launched a 3-day public sensitization campaign aimed at promoting compliance within traffic laws and reducing road carnage. The campaign, dubbed Operation Fika Salama Uhai Kwanza, targets drivers and all road users with a special focus on the Christmas festive season when travel volumes are extremely high. The initiative comes amid a surge in road accidents and fatalities across the country, largely blamed on overspeeding, driver negligence, and disregard for traffic regulations. Authorities say the campaign seeks to ensure that all travelers reach their destinations safely during the festive period.
Tumeanzisha rasmi our road safety campaign program ambayo ni ya siku 2, na tuko several departments ama several stakeholders wa road safety. Tuko na polisi, tuko na NTSA, tuko na Kena, tuko na county government of Kitui and road safety authority committee na wahusika wengi. The main aim ya hii exercise ya leo ni kuhakikisha kwamba sisi kama wahusika wakuu katika usalama barabarani tunaongea na wananchi wetu, tunaongea na madereva wetu kuhakikisha kwamba wakati huu wa msimu wa sikukuu tumekuwa makini sana kwa barabara. We tried as much as possible to reduce the number of accidents during this Eve season. Paresheni fika salama, wahi kwanza.
Wakati wanatumia barabara, either driver ama mwananchi wa kawaida, you must observe traffic rules. Gari unataka kubeba mizigo mingi usibebe, kwa sababu hiyo inachangia. Tunasema ukiwa town kuna ile areas unaambiwa kama zebra crossing, pita hapo. Si kila mahali. Hata wakati uko na gari unabeba abiria ama unaendesha, ile speed overspeeding, overtaking, please do away with that. Tunataka hii msimu ya Christmas watu washerekee kwa furaha, si haikusherekea kwa sababu ya watu wanaenda kusindikiza wenzao kwa sababu ya outcomes ya accidents.
The National Liberal Party leader Augustus Mulias criticized what he terms the deliberate underdevelopment of the Ukambani region, accusing national leaders of perpetuating poverty politics and trading political barbs at the expense of the citizens. Mulias says both President William Ruto and former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka share responsibility for the region's stagnation, arguing that the duo is a distraction from the real issues. He added that Ukambani residents feel the region has been sidelined despite its significant electoral weight.
The development in Ukambani has been deliberate. We've deliberately been left poor and underdeveloped so that the politicians can do what they are doing now. They can accuse each other, they can blame each other, then they come and ask for our support. But this time we want to say no. Poverty too, sababu ya wale viongozi tuko nao ambao they care nothing. They care nil, zero about the development of the community.
President William Ruto has reaffirmed that the contested Migingo Island falls within Kenyan territory. He warned security forces from neighboring countries against harassing Kenyan fishermen. Speaking during the 5th edition of the Piny Luo Festival in Migori County, the president said his administration will pursue all available means to resolve the Migingo boundary dispute. He added that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will engage diplomatic channels to ensure the row over Migingo is settled once and for all.
Mimi nilikubaliana na nyinyi vile party leader wetu wamesema, vile governor wa hapa amesema, vile governor wa Siaya amesema, vile governor wa Wanga amesema, hii Migingo ni sehemu ya Kenya, na tumekubaliana ya kwamba hiyo Migingo kwa sababu ni sehemu ya Kenya, tutahakikisha ya kwamba hiyo sehemu kwa mbinu zote, mbinu za diplomasia na mbinu zingine zote, tutahakikisha kwamba wananchi wetu hawaangaishwi na askari wa nchi zingine. Tunataka kuhakikisha kwamba kuna amani, tuweze kufanya biashara, ndio Kenya iweze kusonga mbele.
And remember, the conversation doesn't end here. We want to hear from you. Join the discussion across all our social media platforms at EBN TV on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. Share your thoughts, your opinions, and your voice on the stories we are bringing you tonight. Your views matters. Stay connected, stay informed, and keep the conversation going. Moving on to matters health is that the health sector is facing a looming crisis as clinical officers across the country have threatened to down their tools effective from Tuesday, 23rd December 2025, if a collective bargaining agreement is not signed and implemented. Kenya Union of Clinical Officers Chairperson Peterson Washira has criticized Health Cabinet Secretary Adan Duale for failing to sign the agreement for 3 months. Speaking in Nakuru, Washira noted that efforts to hold consultations with the Ministry of Health have yielded no results. KUSO officials maintain that previous agreements and court orders have not been honored, leaving the clinical officers with no option but to strike.
This is a strike that has been necessitated purely by the government officer, and specifically the county governments and the Ministry of Health, because of their laxity. And especially, I must say today, that we are really disappointed with the Ministry of Health, and especially with our CS Duale.
The only way out is just to go on strike so that the Ministry of Health and the COG can come in together and give us our CBA and also the third and fourth cycle of the SRC payments. I think the county needs to look on that.
And away from that to education matters is that the Elimu Yetu organization has urged the government to urgently address challenges affecting the education sector ahead of schools reopening next year. Speaking to the media, the organization cited a shortage of teachers, delays in disbursement of government capitation per learner, and data challenges linked to the naming systems as the key issues that need immediate intervention. In its latest report on the state of education, Elimu Yetu also called on the Ministry of Education to step up sensitization of parents on the senior school education system, which is set to roll out next year. The organization noted that the pioneer cohort under the competency-based education model is expected to report on January 12, 2026, adding that many parents still lack clear understanding of the KCSE results and the appropriate education pathways for their children.
National deficit exceeds 100,000, with critical gaps in ASAL areas or region, hard to staff schools, and specifically if we're talking about subjects, STEM subjects. And on this particular matter, we are saying that recruitment must remain the preserve of Teacher Service Commission. We call for the accelerated grade 9 classroom infrastructure construction, because that construction, there are some few areas that did not entirely complete it.
The drought situation in Kajiado County is expected to worsen as failed rains continue to hit the region hard. Hundreds of pastoralists have been forced to abandon their homes and migrate to other regions in search of water and pasture, with Kajiado Central and Kajiado West among the worst affected areas. The National Drought Management Authority has classified Kajiado as a drought hotspot, with over 64,000 people facing food insecurity. Vast rangelands remain barren due to the failed rainy season, and families are being left vulnerable.
Wanyamapori ni wetu, wakati wanapitia sehemu zetu za maji tuwapatie maji, na hata wakati wanashare lishe na mifugo zetu, mujue hawa wanyamapori ni zetu pia, so tusiwaumize, tuwapatie njia.
Tunahangaika hapa, watoto sikianda shule sijitaenda na nini, chakula kukula ni taabu. Tunaenda sisi ni maboroka, tunaenda kutafuta kati kwa soko, saa ingine nakosa jung'ombe mekonda, tunakuja na mkono tu, hata mafuta ya magari.
While on that note, why don't we take a short commercial break right here at EBN TV? Don't go too far, as we still got a lot of stories lined up for you tonight. speaking during the launch of women empowerment projects and the distribution of relief food in Majembeni, Lamu County. Public Service, Human Capital Development and Special Programs Cabinet Secretary Geoffrey Ruku said the government has put in place measures to mitigate the impacts of the drought. CS Ruku added that the government plans to distribute livestock feed to support pastoralists and protect their livelihoods during the prolonged dry spell. Meanwhile, Lamu County Women Representative Monica Marubu said development projects will continue to be implemented to support vulnerable families as calls grow for coordinated national action to address the drought crisis.
And also the private companies or private sector katika taifa letu la Kenya, tuhakikishe ya kwamba hakuna Mkenya yeyote ambaye ameathirika na kiangazi ambaye atalala njaa. Vile vile tuhakikishe kwamba mifugo yetu inapata chakula na maji, na tunajua rais kupitia wizara ya fedha anaweka pesa ya kuhakikisha hiyo maneno yote inazingatiwa. Ndio maana tumeweza kupata chakula ambao tuko nayo hapa siku ya leo.
Sasa kuna mpango ingine ya Mheshimiwa William Samoei Ruto kupitia kwa wizara ya health kwamba mama yoyote mwenye ako na mimba atakuwa registered kwa SHA, yeye na familia yake bure. Umeelewa? Pigeni rais makofi. Hiyo sio yangu, mimi siwezi kusema ni yangu kama ile ya senator, hiyo ni ya Mheshimiwa William Samoei.
Ya kusimama na mwananchi kuhakikisha kwamba anainua vikundi, anainua watu katika biashara, anajaribu kuona ya kwamba watu hawako chini tena, wanaendelea kuinuka.
Still on that note is that hundreds of families in Kilifi County are facing starvation as a prolonged drought bites following failed rains. Residents in the hardest hit areas including Ganze, Magarini and Kaloleni are forced to travel long distances in search of water as ponds and dams have dried up. The Kenya Red Cross organization says more than 600 families have been impacted and Red Cross officials have started distributing food aid to those affected. Margaret Kalama, Assistant Chief of Kirimani Sublocation, warned that the situation is dire, with residents depending on well-wishers for food, and called on the national and county government to intervene before the crisis worsens.
Nabamba kilomita kama 12 hivi kuchota maji kwa sababu hapa sarani kwetu maji yamekauka.
Maji huwa haiishi, inashikana, lakini saa venye mvua haikunyesha ile kubwa ni kama imefeli. Kwa hivyo tunaomba saa maji tunaifuata umbali wa kilomita 15 kupata maji. Na venye tunaona kiangazi ni kama itazidi kuendelea. Kwa hivyo tunaomba hata kama ni kupata zile waterbuza ziwe zitatusaidia kwa hilo jambo hilo.
Hapa tunashukuru ni kwa sababu ukame umetufinya sana. Mvua haikunyesha, hakuna maji. Wananchi hapa wanategemea kilimo na hawakuwa na mazao kwa mashamba yao, na hata kwa wakati huu pia hawataraji kupata chochote kwa mashamba yao. Kwa hivyo tunaomba wahisani popote mlipo, mwe mkikumbuka kuna hii eneo iko na shida kwa ajili ya kwamba watu wametegemea tu kilimo ya mvua kutoka kwa Mwenyezi Mungu, halafu na mifugo ndo mapato.
And we hope a sustainable solution will be found to end the ongoing drought crisis and provide relief to affected families. Moving on, a coalition of elders in Embu County is calling on the Judicial Service Commission to expand representation in the county's court users committee. The elders, led by Andrew Ireri of the Kiama Kianyangi Embu Ndireri cultural group, says excluding community leaders from cultural youth and women's groups undermines the court's purpose. They warn that without proper representations, local concerns related to the courts are often poorly addressed, leading to unresolved grievances.
Kuna kamati ambaye inaitwa Court User Committee. Na Court User Committee iko katika sheria ya Judicial Service Commission Act, Section 34. Hiyo ndio inaonyesha 35 ndio inaonyesha mahakama kutakuwa na kamati. Kila pahali kutakuwa na kamati.
kuna county level, kutakuwa na kamati ya court user committee. Na wakati nilijua hivyo, niliandika barua kuitisha list ya members wa court users committee katika county level. Wale niliona hapo ni maofisa peke yake. Na maofisa wakiitwa kwa mkutano, hakuna moja anatanja shinda ambaye amepata kutoka kwa mwananchi. Sasa hapo ni kuongea tu mambo hili wanaongea, alafu allowance anapata, lakini community hakuna representative. Tungetaka Chief Justice ahakikishe community ya Embu County na community zile zingine zimehusishwa kwa court user committee.
Police officers in Garissa town have impounded suspected contraband fuel and arrested one person believed to be involved in the transportation of the illicit petroleum products allegedly from neighboring Somalia. Authorities say the suspect was found in possession of more than 60 jerrycans of petrol with an estimated market value of over 200,000 shillings, which was being sold illegally on the outskirts of the town. The fuel was being transported in a Toyota Probox that was intercepted by security officers following a tip-off from members of the public. Garissa County Commissioner Mohamed Mwabuzo, who led the operation, warned motorists against using illicit fuel, saying it poses serious risk as it has not undergone any quality inspection. He added that security agencies will continue with sustained operations to curb the illegal fuel trade, emphasizing that the government is intensifying the fight against contraband goods. The arrest comes barely a week after the same security team closed 2 outlets in Garissa town operating in the same business.
Haya yote yana thamani nafikiri takriban ya zaidi ya $200,000. Yanauziwa wakazi wa Garissa wenye magari madogo madogo. Mafuta haya ni ya petroli. Kwa hivyo yanauziwa watu wa pikipiki, tuk-tuk na zile gari ndogo Altos na zile Probox zingine ambazo zinafanya taksi. Tumeweza kutahadharisha wale wahusika wa biashara hii kwamba sisi kama kamati ya usalama na multi agency yote kwa jumla hatutapumzika hadi tuhakikishe kwamba biashara hii imefika kikomo.
And that story brings us to the end of tonight's EBN Prime Edition. On behalf of the entire team that made this broadcast possible, thank you for choosing to spend your evening with us. And as we close tonight's bulletin, allow me to leave you with this thought. As Christmas draws near, may we remember that the greatest gifts are not found under the tree, but in the love we share, the peace we offer, and the hope we carry in our hearts. If this year has been tough, take heart. You made it this far, and you know what? Making it this far is a victory worth celebrating. And if the year has been kind, be grateful and share that kindness with others. And with just 8 days to Christmas, may your home be filled with warmth, your heart with joy, and your days with purpose. And from all of us here at EBN, stay safe, stay hopeful, and keep the spirit of the season alive. Good night and God bless.